Sigmund Freud was an Austrian neurologist and the founder of psychoanalysis. He believed that dreams are a manifestation of unconscious desires, wishes, and conflicts. According to Freud, the content of a dream is symbolic and often represents repressed desires and anxieties. He developed the concept of the manifest content of a dream, which refers to the actual events and images that appear in a dream, and the latent content, which refers to the underlying meanings and motivations behind the dream's symbols. Through the interpretation of dreams, Freud believed that individuals could gain insight into their unconscious mind and resolve psychological conflicts.
The first part of the interpretation of dreams, titled The Introduction, introduces the topic of dream interpretation and sets the stage for the rest of the book. In this section, Freud begins by discussing the widespread belief in the misinterpretation of dreams. He asserts that while many people believe that dreams have no significance or meaning, he believes the opposite to be true. He argues that dreams are a manifestation of unconscious desires and that they reveal important information about a person's unconscious mind. Freud goes on to describe the different theories that have been proposed to explain the purpose of dreams, including the idea that dreams serve as a way to discharge pent-up emotions and impulses, and the idea that dreams are a product of random, meaningless stimuli. He critiques these theories and argues that they do not fully explain the complexity and meaningfulness of dreams. He then introduces the concept of the dream work, which refers to the process by which the unconscious mind transforms repressed desires and anxieties into the symbols and images that appear in a dream. He asserts that the dream work is a key component of dream interpretation and that understanding this process is necessary in order to fully understand the meaning of a dream. Finally, Freud introduces the idea that dreams serve a protective function in that they allow the unconscious mind to express repressed desires and anxieties in a way that is not threatening to the individual's conscious ego. He argues that this protection is achieved through the process of displacement, in which the unconscious mind substitutes one symbol for another, making the true meaning of the dream less threatening to the individual's conscious mind. The next section focuses on the method of dream interpretation. In this section, Freud discusses the importance of paying attention to the details of a dream, such as its content, associations, and emotional tone. He argues that it is these details that reveal the underlying unconscious desires and anxieties that the dream expresses. He then introduces the technique of free association, in which the individual is asked to freely associate to the different elements of the dream in order to uncover its hidden meaning. He asserts that this technique is an effective way to uncover the unconscious desires and anxieties that are expressed in the dream. Freud also discusses the role of symbols in dream interpretation. He asserts that symbols in dreams are often substitutions for unconscious desires and anxieties, and that they must be interpreted in order to fully understand the meaning of the dream. He provides several examples of common symbols, such as water, houses, and sexual organs, and explains their symbolic meanings. Finally, Freud discusses the idea of wish fulfillment in dreams, arguing that dreams often serve as a means for the unconscious mind to fulfill repressed desires and anxieties. He asserts that the process of wish fulfillment in dreams is a key component of dream interpretation and that understanding this process is necessary in order to fully understand the meaning of a dream. The second part of the interpretation of dreams is titled The Dream Work. In this section, Freud provides a detailed explanation of the mechanisms of the dream work, including repression, displacement, and condensation. He asserts that these mechanisms serve to disguise the true desires and anxieties that are expressed in a dream in order to protect the individual's conscious mind from being disturbed. First, Freud discusses repression, the mechanism by which unconscious desires and anxieties are prevented from entering the individual's conscious mind. He argues that this mechanism is necessary in order to prevent the individual from experiencing anxiety or guilt in response to unacceptable desires or anxieties. Next, Freud introduces the concept of displacement, in which the unconscious mind substitutes one symbol for another. He argues that displacement serves to distance the individual from the true desires and anxieties that are expressed in the dream, making them less threatening to the conscious mind. Finally, Freud discusses the mechanism of condensation, in which multiple unconscious desires and anxieties are combined into a single symbol or image in the dream. He argues that condensation serves to simplify the complex unconscious material and make it easier for the unconscious mind to express itself in the dream. This section provides a detailed explanation of the mechanisms of the dream work and how these mechanisms serve to disguise the true desires and anxieties that are expressed in a dream. This section sets the stage for the rest of the book, in which Freud will apply these ideas to the interpretation of specific dreams. Furthermore, Sigmund Freud focuses on the application of his theories to the interpretation of specific dreams. In this section, Freud provides a series of case studies in which he applies his theories of dream interpretation to specific dreams. He provides detailed interpretations of the dreams, including the underlying desires and anxieties that are expressed in them, and demonstrates the use of the techniques of free association, symbol interpretation, and wish fulfillment analysis. One of the most famous case studies in this section is the interpretation of the Irma dream, in which Freud uses the techniques of free association and symbol interpretation to uncover the meaning of the dream. He argues that the dream expresses the dreamer's unconscious desires and anxieties related to sexuality and guilt. Another important case study is the interpretation of the Wolfman dream, which Freud uses to demonstrate the use of condensation and displacement in the dream work. He argues that the dream expresses the dreamer's unconscious anxieties about castration and sexuality, and that the symbols in the dream serve to disguise these anxieties and make them less threatening to the conscious mind. In addition to these case studies, Freud also discusses the role of childhood experiences and childhood sexuality in the formation of desires and anxieties that are expressed in dreams. He argues that childhood experiences, particularly sexual experiences, play a key role in shaping the unconscious mind and influencing the desires and anxieties that are expressed in dreams. In conclusion, the second part of the interpretation of dreams provides a series of case studies that demonstrate the application of Freud's theories of dream interpretation to specific dreams. Through these case studies, Freud provides concrete examples of how the techniques of free association, symbol interpretation, and wish fulfillment analysis can be used to uncover the underlying desires and anxieties that are expressed in a dream. The third part of the interpretation of dreams is titled The Material and Sources of Dreams. In this section, Freud explores the relationship between dreams and the unconscious mind, and argues that dreams serve as the royal road to the unconscious. He asserts that the unconscious mind can express itself in dreams more easily and directly than in waking life, and that the mechanisms of the dream work serve to disguise the true desires and anxieties that are expressed in a dream, in order to protect the conscious mind from being disturbed. Freud also discusses the relationship between dreams and the individual's waking life, and argues that dreams can provide insight into the individual's unconscious desires, anxieties, and conflicts. He asserts that the interpretation of dreams can lead to a deeper understanding of the individual's psychological state, and that this understanding can be used to inform psychoanalytic treatment. In this section, Freud also introduces the concept of the day's residues, which refers to the unconscious desires and anxieties that are left over from the individual's waking life. He argues that these residues influence the content of dreams, and that the interpretation of dreams can reveal the individual's unconscious desires and anxieties related to their waking life. Finally, Freud discusses the role of symbolism in dreams, and argues that symbols serve to express unconscious desires and anxieties in a disguised form. He asserts that the interpretation of symbols in dreams is a key aspect of dream interpretation, and that the use of free association and symbol interpretation can help uncover the true meaning of a dream. In addition, the third part of the interpretation of dreams focuses on the role of the unconscious mind in shaping individual behavior and personality. In this section, Freud expands on his theories of the unconscious mind and its influence on behavior and personality. He argues that the unconscious mind is a repository of repressed desires, anxieties, and conflicts, and that these unconscious elements can play a major role in shaping an individual's behavior and personality. Freud also explores the relationship between the unconscious mind and the individual's conscious mind, and argues that the unconscious mind can exert a powerful influence on conscious thought and behavior. He asserts that the mechanisms of the dream work serve to disguise the true desires and anxieties that are expressed in dreams, in order to protect the conscious mind from being disturbed. In this section, Freud also introduces the concept of neurotic symptoms, which he defines as physical or behavioral symptoms that result from unconscious desires, anxieties, and conflicts. He argues that neurotic symptoms can provide insight into the individual's unconscious mind and can be used to inform psychoanalytic treatment. Freud also discusses the role of the unconscious mind in the formation of neuroses, and argues that neuroses are the result of unconscious desires and anxieties that are in conflict with the individual's conscious values and beliefs. He asserts that the interpretation of dreams and the use of psychoanalytic techniques can help uncover the underlying causes of neuroses and provide insight into the individual's unconscious mind. In conclusion, the third part of the interpretation of dreams provides a deeper exploration of the role of the unconscious mind in shaping individual behavior and personality, and highlights the importance of the interpretation of dreams and psychoanalytic techniques in uncovering the unconscious desires, anxieties, and conflicts that can influence an individual's behavior and personality. The fourth part of the interpretation of dreams is titled The Psychology of the Dream Processes, and it focuses on the relationship between dreams and the functions of the mind, specifically the relationship between dreams and the censorship of the unconscious mind. In this section, Freud explores the role of the censorship of the unconscious mind in shaping the content of dreams. He argues that the censorship of the unconscious mind serves to protect the conscious mind from the unpleasant and potentially disturbing desires and anxieties that are expressed in dreams. Freud also introduces the concept of dream censorship, which refers to the mechanisms by which the unconscious mind disguises the true desires and anxieties that are expressed in a dream. He argues that the dream censorship is an expression of the repression that occurs in the unconscious mind, and that the interpretation of dreams can provide insight into the nature of this repression. In this section, Freud also discusses the role of displacement in dream formation, and argues that displacement serves as a mechanism of dream censorship. He asserts that displacement allows the unconscious mind to express its desires and anxieties in a disguised form in order to protect the conscious mind from being disturbed. Finally, Freud explores the relationship between the dream work and the functions of the mind, and argues that the dream work serves to protect the mind from being disturbed by unconscious desires and anxieties. He asserts that the interpretation of dreams can provide insight into the unconscious mind and the mechanisms of the dream work, and that this insight can be used to inform psychoanalytic treatment. The next section continues to explore the relationship between dreams and the functions of the mind, specifically the relationship between dreams and the unconscious mind. In this section, Freud expands on his theory of the dream work, which he defines as the set of mechanisms that shape the content of dreams and protect the mind from the unpleasant and potentially disturbing desires and anxieties that are expressed in dreams. He asserts that the dream work involves several distinct processes, including condensation, displacement, and secondary elaboration, which serve to disguise the true content of dreams. Freud also explores the relationship between dreams and waking life, and argues that dreams are not simply random or meaningless, but are shaped by the unconscious mind and serve to express unconscious desires and anxieties. He asserts that the interpretation of dreams can provide insight into the unconscious mind and the workings of the dream work, and that this insight can be used to inform psychoanalytic treatment. In this section, Freud also discusses the relationship between dreams and childhood memories, and argues that childhood memories often play a significant role in shaping the content of dreams. He asserts that the interpretation of dreams can provide insight into the individual's childhood experiences and the development of their unconscious mind. Finally, Freud explores the relationship between dreams and the individual's conscious beliefs and values, and argues that the unconscious mind often expresses desires and anxieties that are in conflict with the individual's conscious beliefs and values. He asserts that the interpretation of dreams can provide insight into the nature of these conflicts and help to inform psychoanalytic treatment. The fifth part of the interpretation of dreams by Sigmund Freud is titled The Application of Dream Interpretation to Pathological Cases. This part is a continuation of his exploration of the nature of dreams and their relationship to the unconscious mind. In this section, Freud expands on his previous discussions of the role of symbols, sexual symbols, wish fulfillment, and repressed memories in dream formation, and provides a more in-depth analysis of the ways in which the unconscious mind shapes the content of dreams. Freud begins this section by discussing the relationship between dreams and neurotic symptoms, and argues that dreams can provide valuable insights into the workings of the unconscious mind in individuals with neurotic symptoms. He asserts that the interpretation of dreams can help individuals understand and overcome their neurotic symptoms by uncovering repressed desires, anxieties, and conflicts that are at the root of their symptoms. Freud also explores the relationship between dreams and the formation of myths and legends, and argues that many of the themes and symbols found in myths and legends can be traced back to the unconscious desires and anxieties of individuals. He asserts that myths and legends often serve as a way for individuals to express their unconscious desires and anxieties in a symbolic and disguised form. In this section, Freud also provides a detailed discussion of the role of childhood experiences in shaping the content of dreams. He asserts that childhood experiences often play a significant role in the formation of dreams, and that the interpretation of dreams can provide valuable insights into the individual's childhood experiences and the ways in which these experiences continue to shape the individual's unconscious mind. In addition, Freud provides an in-depth discussion of the role of the death drive in dream formation and argues that the death drive is a fundamental aspect of the unconscious mind that shapes the content of dreams. He asserts that the death drive is often expressed in dreams in the form of aggressive and destructive symbols, and that the interpretation of these symbols can provide valuable insights into the individual's unconscious desires and anxieties related to death and destruction. Overall, the fifth part of the interpretation of dreams provides a comprehensive and detailed exploration of the relationships between dreams, the unconscious mind, and various aspects of human experience, including neurotic symptoms, myths and legends, childhood experiences, and the death drive. This section highlights the importance of the interpretation of dreams as a tool for understanding the workings of the unconscious mind, and provides a foundation for Freud's further explorations of the topic in later sections of the book.
If you are still here, we hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.